This is Amina. She is 32 years old and she has been trying to get pregnant for over 1 year. She experienced irregular menstrual cycle, which is 30 to 50 days per cycle. One day, they decided to went to the doctor, and the clinical evaluation shows that inconsistent ovulation and reduced luteinizing hormone surge. However, her husband's sperm analysis is normal. Now, let's investigate how this thing can occur and how can we help her to get pregnant. Ovulation is the release of mature oocyte from the ovary. It occurs around the middle of menstrual cycle, and this process is regulated by hormones from the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and ovaries. The mechanism of ovulation is involved in 3 main stages, which is follicular development, ovulation, and luteal phase. During follicular development, thousands of primordial follicles begin to mature in the ovary. FSH stimulates the growth of granulosa cell, which produce estrogen. As the follicle develops, it forms a fluid-filled cavity called the antrum and becomes a Graafian follicle. However, only one follicle becomes the dominant follicle while the others degenerate. Around day 14 in menstrual cycle, high estrogen levels trigger an LH surge. This causes the mature follicle to rupture and release the oocyte, which is the process known as ovulation. The released egg then enters the fallopian tube for possible fertilization. After ovulation, the remaining follicle forms the corpus luteum. It produces progesterone and estrogen to prepare the uterus for implantation. If fertilization occurs, pregnancy is supported by HCG. If fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum breaks down, hormone levels decrease, and menstruation begins. Ovulation is regulated by hypothalamus pituitary ovarian axis. This process begins with GnRH, a hormone released by hypothalamus. GnRH stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to release 2 important hormones, which are FSH and LH. FSH, or follicle stimulating hormone, promotes the growth and maturation of ovarian follicles. It acts on granulosa cell, which produce estrogen to support follicle development. As estrogen level increase, it initially provides negative feedback. However, when estrogen reaches a high level, it changes to positive feedback and triggers to sudden increase in LH, known as the LH surge. The LH surge is the key event that causes ovulation. The corpus luteum now produces progesterone, which prepares and maintains the uterine lining for possible implantation.
Fertilization is the amazing process that begins the creation of the new life. It starts when millions of sperm enter the female reproductive tract and begin swimming towards the other egg. Despite the large number, only a few sperm reach the fallopian tube where the egg is located. As the sperm surround the egg, the one healthy sperm attached to the egg protective outer layer called the zona pellucida. The sperm releases special enzyme called acrosin, esterase, and the neuraminidase that help it break through this layer and enter the egg, and a chromosome reacts with perivitallin space before fusing with the oocyte plasma membrane. Once a single sperm successfully enters the egg, quickly changes its outer membrane to prevent any other from entering inside the egg. This triggers the completion of the oocyte's second meiotic division and the formation of the female pronucleus, followed by the cortisol reaction, which prevent polyspermy. Genetic material from the sperm and egg combine together to form a single fertilized cell known as zygote. This zygote now carries DNA from both parents. Soon after the fertilization begins dividing into multiple cells, marking the first stage of the human development. So, in this scenario, our patient is trying to conceive and she is experiencing irregular menstrual periods. Her menstrual cycles are longer than 35 days and they fluctuate widely. This may indicate that she is not ovulating regularly, a condition known as oligo-ovulation. In some certain cases or certain condition, she may not ovulate at all, which is called anovulation. Without the release of a mature egg from the ovary, fertilization cannot occur. So, the pregnancy, to making a pregnancy is impossible to her.
I am going to analyze how our patient's irregular ovulation and reduced LH luteinizing hormone surge affect her chances of fertilization. If we look at the chart on the left, a normal cycle requires a very high, sharp LH spike to trigger ovulation. However, our patient's curve shown in the red dashes line is completely flattened and never reaches that critical threshold. This causes three main problems for fertilization. For the first one, mistiming. Her highly irregular 30 to 50 day cycles make it impossible to track her fertile window. Because an egg only lives for 12 to 24 hours, the sperm and egg simply miss each other. For the second one is immature egg release. Even if an egg manages to develop, a weak LH surge cannot signal it to finish its final maturity stage, leaving it unfertilizable. For the third one, trapped eggs. Without that strong LH spike, the follicle lacks the power to rupture, meaning the egg remains trapped inside the ovary. Looking at the broader picture, the LH surge is vital because it acts as the switch to trigger follicular rupture and the builder to transform the empty follicle into the corpus luteum. Disruption here leads to chronic infertility from anovulation and a luteal phase deficiency, where a lack of progesterone causes the uterine lining to shrink too early for an embryo to survive. To help this patient get pregnant, we propose two targeted interventions based on clear biological principles. Our first option is a medical intervention using oral ovulation induction, such as clomiphene citrate or letrozole. This works by blocking early cycle estrogen feedback to the brain. Biologically, this tricks the pituitary gland into releasing more FSH, which is follicle-stimulating hormone, which forces healthy follicle growth and ultimately triggers a strong normal LH surge. Our second option is a lifestyle intervention focused on circadian and metabolic alignment. By standardizing meal times, maintaining strict sleep schedules, and reducing blue light exposure at night, we can help stabilize the brain signals, specifically GnRH, gonadotropin-releasing hormone, and kisspeptin that control reproduction, naturally restoring proper LH pulses. Finally, what happens if fertilization is successful but implantation fails? Physiologically, pregnancy also will fail, and the patient will simply experience a normal menstrual period on schedule. The mechanism behind this is straightforward. When the embryo fails to attach to the uterine wall, the corpus luteum automatically breaks down after about 14 days. This degradation triggers a sudden, sharp crash in progesterone and estrogen levels. Without this hormone to maintain it, the functional layer of the uterine lining breaks down and shreds as menstrual bleeding.
As conclusion, successful reproduction depends on proper hormone regulation, ovulation, fertilization, and implantation. In this case, irregular ovulation and reduced LH surge decrease amina changes for conception. However, with medical treatment, lifestyle modification, and ART strategies may help to improve fertility outcomes of amina.